Thunder Wizards. Oh my God. I'm so frustrated. All right. I am back. The main thing that I'm going to accomplish right now is that the live stream is back. I have just spent the last 3 hours trying to go live with Wirecast. And for whatever reason, I can't figure out. They forced me to download the new version, and then I can't. It won't hook up to my camera. It's just so that's it. I'm done with them. It's not. It's so frustrating. Anyway, but not. I'm back. So I have no idea. Oh, there's 4 people watching. I don't know if this is working. I had to go on to Chrome and just live stream, and I didn't have, so I don't have my normal stuff with all the credits and the music and the opening and all that crap. So tomorrow I'm going to spend all day figuring out a new way to live stream, and I'm not using Wirecast ever again. It might just be me, maybe because all the gray hair in my face and I'm older, but my feeling is that the customer, I shouldn't have to feel like I got a gun to my head, and I shouldn't have to feel like, oh my God, the company that I'm paying to do something for me, they're working for me, like I've shared about this a few times, but like if I go into a store and I want to buy something, or if I'm looking around, I want to be treated like a customer, and I want the people working there to be, they're there to serve me, right? So like if I'm going to whatever, I'm going to go to the grocery store, I want them to say, "How are you, sir? Hello. Do you need everything?" But you go to the checkout and they want to pretend like they're your friend or something, and that this is something that you can tell they've been trained to do this. And they do things like, "So, what do you have planned for the weekend?" And you can tell they feel really uncomfortable. You can tell they don't want to do it, but they're supposed to do it. "So, you're going to watch the big game? Do you have any plans?" Just like, dude, just bag my groceries. "Sir, yes, sir, thank you. Can I help you?" And then I give you the money and I leave. Anyway, so I'm pissed off at Wirecast because I feel like, I don't understand. And in any case, I'm done with them. A product, I shouldn't have to feel like there's something wrong with me because your product isn't working. Anyway, done with that. So main thing is I am back. And if there's anybody out there, I need you to say something, because otherwise I don't know if the chat's working. So I know I tell you not to do that, but in this instance, say hello so I know that you're there. So, okay, so it's working. All right, so enough. I don't need to start like a dialogue about that. I just need to know you guys are there. All right, so what I was going to talk about today was, once again, I just wanted to get myself out there again, and this has been the live Q&As has been, I think, the most dynamic aspect of my channel. When I started doing the live Q&As, that's when my channel really started taking off, and so I am really glad to be back here. I'm really looking forward to this huge life change that's coming for me, which I don't even know what that's going to be like yet. But as you know, I'm getting rid of everything I've got here. I'm going to be living out of a suitcase. I'm going to have my surfboards in my suitcase and my laptop, and that's it. And I'm going to Australia and New Zealand, and even though I'm too old for them to want to let me live there permanently, I may just bounce around Australia and New Zealand indefinitely until I decide on where I want to live. If I decide to come back to the U.S., then I will. Or if I'm able to meet some hot bikini model in Australia who wants to marry, some 55-year-old surfer, I'll have to work that out. But I'm really excited about that change, and I really want to really start working on this channel even more. But the main thing the main engine for this channel has been the live YouTube streams. So what I'm going to talk about again for the next few minutes until people start dropping questions in is the 4 tools that I've been recommending that we use. And so I've been calling it the 4 tools to master the matrix. But so look, my channel is great, and I know that people love the live Q&As, and I know that people love to come on and ask questions. But if you want to get the most out of me and out of my channel, first and foremost, you need to be putting time and effort to watching the videos, the free videos, the over 400 free videos on the channel. You need to be putting in time and effort into that. And YouTube wants to turn you into a mindless sheep robot. The way YouTube works now is that when you come on, it starts throwing videos at you. It's trying to distract you. In fact, they set up the algorithms so that the most outrageous, nonsensical stuff is because they've learned that's what gets the most views, is people looking for, alien invasions or, whatever political hot button is going on, or, conspiracy theories. They know that that's what gets the most attention. And so if you want to really understand a channel, you actually have to go in and start searching. And now people, as you know, we've got people are using their iPhones and all that, and that makes it that much harder to be able to actually look at somebody's content and go into it. So really is important to get the most out of this is to know what it is that I teach. And the only way you're going to do that is if you put the time and effort in to research the channel and watch the videos. Second thing is the books. The books is what started all of this. In earlier than that, probably around 2009, about 10 years ago, I started publishing books, and I had no following, and I had no channel. I just started my channel. You can go on my channel, you can go back to the very first video, and you can see how different I look and everything. But that's what started it all, is the books. So the books create a foundation for an understanding of what it is that I teach. So again, I'm addressing the people that just, they're on YouTube and, Thunder Wizard is live, and they go to watch. And there's a huge chunk of people that really don't know what it is that I teach. So I recommend that you do that. And normally I'd have my little banner up here that says courses.thunderwizard.com. Go there. That has access to everything. The other one is neo.thunderwizard.com. So these are the two places that I need you to go to get access to my resources. Okay, and the other one is neo.thunderwizard.com. So let's talk about what maybe you've heard this before, but bear with me as I repeat myself. The 4 tools that I recommend to not only make the most of my channel, but this is my belief. This is what I do on a daily basis, and this is what I believe. And so if you're on here because you think I have something of value, I'm assuming that you do. If you've come onto my channel, if you follow my channel, if you watch the videos, if you wait for the live streams because you think I have something of value, then if you want what I have, you've got to do what I do. And so these 4 things is the best way that I know to put it into a clear A, B, C, D, F, and G of, how do you make your life better? How do you connect to the universe? How do you evolve spiritually? These are the 4 things. So the first one is you've got to know what your destination is. So just sit with yourself for a second and just ask yourself, do you know where you want to go in your life? Do you know what you want in your life? There's no shortage of people out there who don't. Not only do they not know, they just go from, like I said, sheep, go from one moment to the next. And whatever it is that grabs their attention is, where they go. That to me is the worst way to live. But I get it. That's what if you want to be a good citizen in this country now, these days, especially these days, what our society, what our world wants is for you to be a mindless robot, not even a sheep, a mindless robot, and to live from moment to moment. This is the basic idea behind all of sales. I've been in sales before. I've worked in sales. I complain numerous times about if I really wanted to, I could be a billionaire because I know exactly what to say. I could create my own cult very easily because I know exactly what it is that people need. But I can't live with myself if I do that. And I've had, no shortage of people that I know say, here's what you should do. And they're basically saying, create some BS cult, some bullshit cult. Because if you did, I would know exactly what to do and what to say. There's a video, if you haven't watched it on my channel, I want you to go watch it. And it's, I wish I could remember the name of it, but there's 2 videos connected to this, and it's a free healing is the way that I present it. And the first one, what I say is that, and I lie. I outright lie, but then I admit to it later. But the outright lie is I say in the video that I've been taught by my masters, by my teachers, how to do this secret technique of healing. It's a gazing video. And so what you're going to do is you're just going to look into my eyes and just allow the energy, and I put a little bit of music underneath, which I know will set the mood. I know how to put people into a hypnotic trance, so I do that in the video. And then I say, whatever it is that happened, blah, blah, blah. And then I say, to find out how I did this healing, go to the next video. And so I tell them to go to another video. And in that video, I say, all right, I'll now share with you the secret to how I healed you in the previous video. And bear in mind, people, when they watch this video, they write in, oh my God, I felt this, and I looked in your eyes and I felt this, and I felt all this kind of energy, and they totally believe it. They totally buy that I'm healing them. And then the next one I say, here's the secret. Here's what I did. I did nothing. I just looked into the camera. And because I did my best to have an empty look on my face, you, because of your desire, your need to have something happen, you projected that on. And whatever healing happened, you did it to yourself. I was just the symbol for your unconscious to have permission to give yourself whatever experience you have. And the thing about true teaching like that, teaching people the truth like that, is that it's not all that popular. But I am not wired in such a way where I can do that. So when I ask you, getting around to the question, when I ask you, where are you going? Do you know where you're going in life? Do you know? Because if you don't, then you are very likely to be set up to be a robot, where YouTube, television, iPad, iPhone, whatever the hell the kids are using these days, is set up to just keep you distracted and keep you a sheep, so that you're part of this, whatever system it is, working some job just so you can have just enough money to survive. Here's what the world wants from you. What the world wants from you is it wants you to work some job that will just give you enough money to survive, and then a little bit more. And with that little bit more, you are supposed to spend that. You're supposed to spend that on stuff. And to spend it on stuff that you become addicted to. Phones, computers, internet, cable television, whatever it is, cars, porn, video games. You are supposed to pay money to stay addicted to those things. And as you stay addicted to those things, you never rise above that. You work just enough to have enough money to pay rent and pay for the other stuff that goes on in your life. And this is why most people live on this state of pseudo poverty. I mean, they have enough money to eat, but they never feel like they have enough. They're in debt. They're just moving along. If you don't know where you're going, if you don't know what your destination is, why you are here, and if you're not actively working towards why you are here, the only other option is to be this robot sheep and to be led around by the nose. You've heard the term being led around by the nose. That's why people put these. It's funny to me when I see one of the hot things now is girls will put these rings in their nose. But if you've seen cows or other beasts of burden, they have these rings in their noses so that you can tie a rope to it and pull them along because they won't go willingly. But it's painful to be pulled around by the nose. So when somebody pulls you by the nose, you have to go. To be led around by the nose means that you don't have any choice. People are making all of the choices for you. And the only way to overcome that is if you know where it is you're going and what you want. You don't know what that is until you know what it is that your soul wants from you. And so we've got a bunch of people being led around by the nose. There's a reason why people feel like victims. I mean, I get on people's case for being victims. But if you don't know where you're going, you don't know what you want out of life, you don't know why you're here, there is no other choice but to be led around by the nose. So you have to know where you're going in life. That's the first thing that I recommend. The second thing that I recommend is once you know where you're going, which will give you a map. Where you're going is your map. You're here and you want to go there. What is it that you're here to do in this world? And the process of finding that out that I've discovered, maybe not the only way, but in my experience, which is the only experience I have, the most powerful method of knowing what you are here to do is to find out what it is that gives you the greatest joy in your life. And if I ask you that question, if you could snap your fingers and if you could do anything, what would it be? If your response is, I don't know, then that tells me that you most likely have a conflict, that you are living to be a sheep to something or somebody. I've been talking about, wanting to have mommy and daddy's love. That's where it starts. Little infants have to. They have to live their life as sheep because if they don't, they won't survive. They're not capable. They're not mentally, psychologically, or physically capable of providing for themselves. They will die without somebody giving to them. So, your first chakra, your lower chakra, is all about being an infant. An infant is thinking of one thing only: I want to be taken care of. I want stuff. I want food. And mommy and daddy are my source for that. And I have to make sure that they provide for me. Right? So first chakra is all about that. First chakra is also about your surrounding, your literal surrounding, what surrounds you. That's why babies want to be wrapped up. If you have kids, little infants, if you don't wrap them up, they cry because it makes them uncomfortable. But if you wrap them up, they feel comfortable, they feel safe. That's the lower chakra. That's the base chakra right there. So if you don't know where you're going then you don't have a map. You're just wandering around through life. So that's the first one. The second one is the vehicle. Once you know what the map is, where you're going, what you want to do, you need a vehicle to take you there. This is what has worked for me. Without life force energy, which is a direct connection, it's not an idea. All right, so I'm gonna bag on something. Well, so there have been people who have worked with me when I ask them, because I put so much free qigong material on my website. I mean, on the channel. If you haven't, go on to my website and do Thor's hammer qigong. Do the Thor's hammer qigong. That's there because, in my experience, that is absolutely necessary. Not the idea of life force energy, but the actual experience of it. This is, by the way, why people drink and do drugs. Because drugs and alcohol have a strong effect on the energy body. You know that feeling when you drink alcohol, that warm, fuzzy feeling you get? That is life force energy being released. Your experience is it feels good. And it has the mimicked experience of what's happening when you are creating life force energy. But it's actually energy that's being released. It's leaking out of you. But as it's leaking out of you, it feels good. Same thing with THC, same thing with all other chemicals. When you ingest them, they have such a strong effect on your energy body that it'll do things like get the liver going. The liver is very important for your life force energy. So that's why people who drink a lot get cirrhosis of the liver, because the liver is working so hard and it's filtering out all the poison and all that. That when the liver is taxed like that, it releases life force energy. It's leaking out of you. Same thing with THC. So that's the mimic. That's why people do it, because it feels good to have this feeling of energy. Feels like energy is surrounding you. When you do actual real energy work, you are tapping directly in. You're plugging directly into what the universe is made up of, which is life force energy, chi, prana, whatever. And whenever you do that, it gives this feeling of being nourished. And so it's hard to do life force energy and feel frightened, because you have this connection to energy. So that's the second thing I recommend. Now, I recommend doing the celestial qigong because that's the most powerful qigong I've ever done. There's other stuff out there. But you can do the free stuff on the channel as well. Just get yourself connected to life force energy, because then it's no longer about needing to get something from outside of you, meaning people or society. It's you can feed yourself. This is why Taoist monks and mystics spend their whole life up in the mountains, because they get so connected to life force energy that becomes their friend, that becomes their their partner, that becomes what they relate to. People would say relate to God. You can't relate to God without life force energy. You can't do it. So this is another thing that society wants to keep you from, because the more that you are disconnected, the more that you are frightened and alone, the more you are going to need to spend whatever money you have on the nonsense to keep you connected. Okay, so that's the second thing. You need life force energy. That's the vehicle. That's the vehicle that takes you to your destination, which is why you are here. Your fulfillment is going to come from you reaching your destination. Number 3 of the 4 tools. The number 3 is you need to know the rules of the road. So the metaphor is you know your destination, you have a map, you need a vehicle, which is life force energy, to get you to your destination. And in your vehicle, you need to know how to navigate. You need to know what the rules of the road are. And so this is what people are talking about when they talk about exiting the matrix. What they really want to know when people say they want to exit the matrix, which is the same as saying they want to be enlightened or they want to be freed. It's the same thing. What they really want to know is they want to know how the universe functions. They want to know, if I do this, I want to get this. They're trying to, they're following the path of the sheep robot. They're being led around by the nose. And they understandably do not want to be a captive anymore. And so they're looking for, what is it I can do to get the universe to respond to me? So this is what I call mastering the matrix. That's what I mean by that. And I really do believe that the universe is a matrix. And again, as you've always heard me say, I'll say it again. The universe responds to you in one of two ways. First off, the underlying assumption of the universe, from the universe's perspective, is that you are God. It knows that you have come here to achieve your destiny, your purpose, which is your greatest joy. It's waiting around to help you to do that. And it's responding directly to the beliefs, the assumptions, and the actions that you take. Beliefs and assumptions and actions. Beliefs and assumptions are actions. It's looking at your actions. And if you are acting like a victim, then it says, this person isn't following their joy. I'm not going to help. Because I can only help you if you follow the path you have set for yourself. If you follow somebody else's path, the universe says, I can't help you. That's the cause of illness. It's the cause of unhappiness. It's the cause of, list all the things you don't like. That's the main cause. You can either follow your own pre-programmed destiny, or you can follow something else. If you follow your own pre-programmed destiny, the universe then responds in a positive way. It rewards you for that. In order for you to do that, you have to start with the assumption that the universe is going to provide for you. When a bird, launches out of its nest and starts flying around, right? It has a full belief that it will be able to fly. If it doesn't, it will never get out of the nest. When you take action towards what you know you are here to do, if you have belief in that, you'll take action, and you'll know that you'll end up flying. If you don't believe that, you won't take action. The universe is waiting for you to take action, not on any action. It's waiting for you to take action from your pre-programmed destiny. Right? So you need to know what the rules of the road, how the universe responds. It responds positively to fearless action towards your destiny. It doesn't respond positively to desperation. Desperation is not fearlessness. It doesn't respond to desperation. It responds to fearlessness. And then the fourth thing of the four tools. So the first one is the destination and the map. The second one is the vehicle. The third one is the rules of the road, which is knowing how to make the universe respond to you in a positive way. And the fourth one is what we're doing here. And that is what the Q&As are about. You guys ask me questions so that I can help you deprogram yourself. That's the hardest part. I can give out the information and say A, B, C, D, F, and G, but we have this thing called the unconscious, which is working against us when we're not in alignment with ourselves. So the whole point of spirituality is to become aligned so that we can know what it is that we want and then go do it. It's the whole point of spirituality. And there's no escape. If you want to achieve enlightenment and escape, I'm here to tell you it's not there. You want to exit the matrix? You want to go to the North Pole? Oh my God. You want to go to the North Pole and exit the matrix? You will find, if you go to the North Pole, you will not find an exit there. The only exit is to follow what you chose to do when you came here. That is only accessed through conscious awareness. Conscious awareness is the whole point of all spiritual practice. But when we have this unconscious mind that is working against us, because for whatever reason we are not in alignment, I can give you all the tools. and you'll still, probably there will be at some point you'll reach some resistance or some confusion, which is the whole point of what spiritual teachers are, is to just be, no, take a left here, no, turn right there. You're on, keep going. Is to be a coach and help you, follow your own truth, follow your own inner guru. And that's what this is. That's what being an apprentice is. That's what getting an astrological reading, all of that stuff is to help you break through the unconscious resistance and the false beliefs and patterns that you have. I wish, because if I could figure this out, I would be a billionaire. I wish I could just give you one thing, just do this and it'll all work for you. But unfortunately, my life has been this way, and it's been my experience with everybody that I work with. There has to come an interaction. You have to work through that in partnership with either a group of people or with a teacher or both. And that's what number 4 is, which is the Patreon channel. So that's what I kind of wanted to talk about. But boy, am I frustrated. So I'm never using Wirecast again. I'm going to have to find out some other new program to be able to stream live with some technology here. So I know I babbled on and vented, but I will take any questions if there are any. So for those of you who are new to the channel, again, the way that I want to interact with you is I want you to write the word question and then ask a clearly well thought out question with appropriate words and phrases and a subject and an object and punctuation so that I can understand it. So I don't see any questions here. One question, Robin Wonder is saying, do you think that a person can powerfully live moment to moment, as in connecting to source, being present and trusting the moment-to-moment guidance received? Yes. Short answer, yes, I do. Do I think that? Yes, I think a person can do that. I guess what I'm hearing in that question is that I don't know if you're asking because you want to know or if you're just wanting to start a discussion or if this is something you yourself feel strongly about and it's something you like to teach about. I can't tell from that question, but if somebody were to ask me that question because they didn't feel like they had a moment-to-moment experience, I only have one real answer for everything. And it goes back to living your soul desire. I mean, I hesitate to use the word soul purpose because once you start throwing the word purpose around, it starts sounding like God's will. And God's will is you give up your will for something you probably don't want to do. And people think you're a good person if you run around doing a bunch of shit you don't want to do. The 10 Commandments. 10 Commandments are one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. And we have a whole world running on it. Because the 10 Commandments are obvious. The ones that are actually pertinent. Don't steal. Don't lie. Don't commit murder. They want to say don't steal somebody's wife, but instead of doing that, they attack your feelings and they say don't lust after your neighbor's wife. You can't control who you're attracted to, so that's ridiculous. But your actions you do have control over. Somebody who's connected to themselves, who's aligned, is going to already know this. So the fact that you have to have these 10 commandments to tell people the obvious is a real sign that you've got a seriously screwed up society. There's something really wrong with that society that you have to tell people not to kill, not to steal, respect your elders. That's just obvious stuff. Anyway, so to live moment to moment, the book that I wrote is the Shamanic Secret Commandment to a perfect life. Go on to michaelwilliamdenny.com. Get that book. I've said before, but that is, of all the stuff that I have out there, that is the most important thing. If you don't have what's in that book, it doesn't matter. You can have all the life force energy in the world. You can have all of the mantra. You can have all the magical power. You can, open your third eye. All of that stuff will be meaningless if you don't have consciousness about where it is you want to go and why you're here. And the only person that can tell you that is you. So to trust moment to moment, what I'm hearing in that question is how we've been trained by modern society. By modern society, I mean in the past 2,000 years, since the advent of monotheism, Christianity. Christianity, the Abrahamic religion, says there's this one God who sits up in heaven, and he cropped out these beings called humans, which once he got them out, he realized he hated them because they weren't perfect. And, he's so insecure, and he can't stand you not being, perfect, which is his own projection onto them. So he destroys them, he puts floods and all this kind of stuff, and then damns them forever simply for being born, right? So that creates that, if you're pounded into that with all of the religion, I don't care if it's Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Mormonism, Jehovah's Witness, Catholicism, even if it's not, born again Christianity, if it has any connection to Jehovah whatsoever, then you are constantly being told that you are flawed, that you're screwed up, that you're not enough, you never will be enough. And the best thing you can do is feel guilty. And spiritual worship for these people is getting on their knees and feeling guilty and giving God glory and thanking Jesus for saving me. I'm such a wretch. Why? Because you're a human? Because you were born? That creates a disconnection, because it's impossible. Think about it. Think about if you're having sex. Sex is something that we do. We energetically connect. We feel connected. It's something that's happening moment to moment. Imagine trying to have sex with somebody that was constantly saying, "Oh my God, you're ugly. Oh, that feels so crap. What is wrong? Oh my God, you're moving so stupidly." I mean, you wouldn't be able to just relax and enjoy it. You wouldn't, because you would feel so judged all the time. When we are programmed to feel all of those things on just our existence, it's impossible to feel connected on a moment-to-moment basis. It's impossible. And the damage that comes from that creates a disconnect from our soul. And so the main thing that ends up happening is that we have a world of people who are filled with shame. And shame is nothing more than our unconscious action to disconnect ourselves from our own soul. Here's an example of what I'm talking about. When I left Christianity in my mid-20s, how old was I? No, early 20s. When I left Christianity in my early 20s, I just stumbled around. All I knew is that Christianity was an awful religion, and that the whole Jehovah idea was just awful. That's all I knew. And the whole idea of going to hell was just awful, and being saved from hell. I didn't know what the truth was. I didn't know what existed out there. I didn't know what God was, whatever that means. I just knew that the current system I had didn't work. And so after I walked away from it, which was one of the hardest things I've ever done, one of the most frightening things, I didn't leave Christianity because I didn't believe in it. I left it because I couldn't respect myself in it anymore. I couldn't worship a God who destroyed his own creation simply because, over things they had no control over. I could not worship that God. And so if that meant that God threw me into hell, well, so be it. At least I can live with myself. So I was consciously making the decision that I knew I was going to burn in hell for for leaving. So that's not an easy thing to do. Looking back on it, I am kind of in awe that my integrity was what was most important to me, and that even denying God, if it meant holding on to my integrity, I'm looking back on it. That's not, I've seen people get destroyed because, religion just forces them to disconnect from their own soul. And it goes back to a philosophy and a system of creating an empire. And I could get into that, but that's what created it. We had people who wanted to create an empire. In order to have an empire, you have to have a bunch of sheep. And you have to have the sheep being dependent on you. The easiest way to make somebody dependent upon you is if you make them feel guilty. That's the easiest way to control people. Because if they feel guilty, they never listen to themselves, and they're always worried about if you love them. And so society became associated with God, which is why later in the Middle Ages, the king was divinely appointed. And so to disobey the king was to disobey God. And that's there in the New Testament. If you want to follow God, you have to do what the politicians tell you to do. That's right there in the New Testament. Even Jesus himself says, pay your taxes. It's created, it's designed to create sheep in a political system, which is why, have you noticed, really religious people are extremely politically motivated. What do born-again Christians do? They spend most of their time listening to right-wing political radio and the Fox News. It's because politics and religion for them are the same. Politics and God are the same. The state is the same. That's why, America is the land of God's whatever, that to be a Christian is to be an American. That's why all that connection is there. This is where religion came from. And to be a good citizen in an empire, you need to be a small cog so that you can do what you're told, which means you only make just enough money to survive and maybe a little more than that so you can spend the rest of your money on stuff. All right. So point being is that what I hear in that question of can we live authentically moment to moment is that the main thing is anybody who's struggling with that, which is everybody, is that there's a disconnection to the soul. And the soul is nothing more than what gives you joy. What gives you joy is the soul. If you want to connect with your soul, your first question should be, what gives me joy? What makes me happy? And then to realize that that thing inside of you that makes you happy is, in fact, if there is a divine commandment, that is the only one. You don't have to worry about your morals if you are connected to your joy, because if you go after what gives you joy, you will automatically bring healing and enlightenment and evolution to every other conscious being in the universe. You never have to choose between what gives you happiness and what helps others. If there are people in your life that don't like it, then they represent the part of you that is trying to disconnect from your soul and be part of the machine. So that is the choice for everybody. Are you going to be a cog in the machine, or are you going to be a spiritual being? That's ultimately the choice that everybody has to make. And we make it continuously. We're continuously having to make that choice all the time. All right, so again, everybody, if you've got a question, please write the word question. Otherwise, I can't tell if you're just somebody dropping an opinion. I appreciate that you have them, but this isn't that kind of a discussion. It's a question and answer. So Javid Amodi says, what books do you recommend to read about the runes? So I don't know you, Javid. Forgive me for criticizing you here. Have you looked at my books? Are you even aware that I have rune books. I have 3 of them, not to mention all of the videos on my channel. So that question tells me you don't know a lot about my channel and you don't even know that I have books. So go to courses.thunderwizard.com to see all of my books. Go onto my channel. I've got nothing but runes on there. If you want to learn everything that I have to say about runes on video, go to Rune, I believe this is it. Again, you can find that at courses.thunderwizard.com. But if you want to go directly there, go runecertification.thunderwizard.com. Point being, to answer your question, I think you should read my books. And the reason why I say that is because I wrote the books that I wrote because I found that the books out there on runes, most of it was just nonsense. That the majority of the rune masters out there really didn't know what they were talking about. And you know, I've got, let's see here, used to have these rune cards here. No, you can't see it, can you? Rune cards. I used to use these. And those have on there the meanings of the runes. And I don't have any of the cards here because I don't use them anymore. But you flip it over and you look at what they say the runes are, and it's just helter-skelter nonsense. There's no rhyme or reason to any of it. Meaning that most of the people out there have no clue what the runes are. And so what I did is I went back to the language, because that's one of my things, is language and words. And I went back to the Proto-Germanic and I started researching the meanings of the rune names themselves. And a lot of the names of the runes are ancient Germanic words that people don't know the meanings of anymore. And once you understand what the names of the runes are, you know what they are. So my recommendation is to read my books. I think, you know, it's going to sound egotistical, but I think that I'm the, you know, the premier authority on runes these days right now. That sounds egotistical, but I wouldn't have written books if I didn't think I had something to share about that. So read my books. Go to michaelwilliamdenny.com or courses.thunderwizard.com to find what they are. Question, will you do more videos on the runes? The runes you haven't covered yet. So, Joe Connolly, have you even seen my videos on the runes? Do you know how many videos I have on them? This is what the Patreon channel is, thunderwizard.com. I don't even know how many videos on runes on there. So let me just make a pitch for that. The reason why I created the Patreon channel is because I was just loading up video after video on my free YouTube channel. And people were getting overwhelmed with the amount of information. So I created a course, an online course where you could go and in your own pace, follow from beginning to end. And so if you go to Patreon, and just if you sign up at the $25 subscription level, you're going to get, I don't know how many hundreds of hours of video, starting from the beginnings of shamanism, which is what is ritual, what is energy, qigong, how to work with the 8 directions, the 9 worlds, how to work with the runes, what the runes are. So that's what that channel is all about. If you guys are starting off, where do I start? Go to Patreon and start off at the lowest level and just soak up those videos and follow, because I teach you from step by step how all of this stuff is. Energy work, runes, ritual, gods, deities, mantra, you know, philosophy, all of it, mythology, all of it. That's what that channel is for. So again, it just makes me want to say, people, please put time and effort into my channel, into what I teach. I know it's, you know, you come onto YouTube and you listen to me, but put some effort into it. You are being programmed by YouTube to be a sheep. You are being programmed to go from one superficial, outrageous teaching to the next. You are being programmed to be distracted at every given moment. It is not encouraging you to put time and effort into study. You know, people say to me, do your research. And what I mean by research is watching YouTube videos. You know, usually if I say something about, you know, what reptilians are, that reptilians are actually coming from your own reptilian brainstem, people will go, do your research. And they don't understand that research actually is looking at both sides of any issue and actually going and putting time and effort to track down not just what is being stimulated in you in the moment, but to learn about something. And you will not make progress on any spiritual path, but on my spiritual path, unless you have the ability to be a self-initiated researcher. You know, read what I've got out there. So I already have made, I don't even know how many hundreds of hours of Rune videos there is. Find out where that is. Go to courses.thunderwizard.com and find out where that is. The runes I haven't covered. I've covered every rune multiple times. Yes, so I will be doing more on those, but yeah, learn what's on my channel. Steve Borowski, question. It's a long question. In coming to important junctures in life and looking for serious guidance from the spirits, do you recommend the meditations in conjunction with fasting isolation? So, Steve, what I teach is what I teach. And my question to you is, have I ever taught fasting and isolation? Nothing against it, but I don't teach it. So if I thought it was necessary, I would teach it. So that should probably answer your question. I have nothing against it, but you're asking me, do I think it's necessary? If I thought it was necessary, I would teach it. I don't teach that. David Ryan, question. Can the 33 rune Anglo-Saxon rune set be incorporated into your system besides the Elder Futhark? David Ryan, have you read my books, my rune books? I answer that question. Galzudzedek Sandalfan. All right, so that's not a question. If you have a question, leave me a question. That's the only thing I listen to. Robin Wonder, follow up to my question. My question was mostly for clarification. I feel the most powerful when I relinquish my desires, fears, and assumptions and just trust being present. Yeah, so that's why I said I wasn't sure where your question was coming from, but yeah, I agree with that. Joe Connolly, question. Can the runes represent phases of our lives? I feel like I've been through Hagalaz, Nauthiz, and Isa my entire life, frozen and stuck. So Joe, please read my books, watch my videos. I have a direct disagreement with you about what those runes mean. And this is what I was saying earlier. The majority of the teachings on runes out there are nonsense. Nauthiz has nothing to do with being stuck. Isa especially has nothing to do with being frozen and stuck. There are no such things as negative runes. They don't exist. So let's talk about what the runes are. The runes are the fundamental energetic forces of the universe that hold and create the universe. You can't have a negative creating life. You can't have something that's stuck or that doesn't create anything. Isa is called ice because it comes from icicle. The icicles look like, you know, the number one. The icicle represents the single unit. It represents the identity. It represents the self. So there's no way to have a powerful sense of self and be stuck. So if Isa comes up in a reading, it doesn't mean, oh my God, stuck in the self, ego, trapped in the ego, stuck, frozen. That's what I mean. When I could have pulled that out of this rune card. If I pulled out Isa, it would have said something like that. Stuck, frozen, got nothing to do with that. It means the self. Isa is also sounds similar to the original word for I. I. Isa. I, the self. There is no such thing as, we use the word egotistical, or that person is an egomaniac, or, that person has ego issues. And I use those words, but the truth is that there's no such thing. You either have a strong sense of self or you don't. And if you have a strong sense of self, then you are comfortable with yourself. You don't have to compare yourself to others. You don't have to lord yourself over other people. And you also don't have to cower. You are empowered within yourself. So if Isa comes up, that is good. If you say you are in Isa, it means that you have a powerful sense of self. You feeling stuck is something else. That's not the Isa room. Okay, because Isa can't be reversed. If you could reverse Isa, then you'd be like, oh yeah, this person has bad, a low self-esteem, or is stuck in themselves, or is insecure. You can't reverse it. You either have a sense of self or you don't. You're either secure or you're not. Insecure people are either bullies or they're doormats. It means the same thing. It's just the same extreme reaction to the same problem. So again, watch my videos, read my books, put some time and effort to find out, what I've got out there. And I think I am able to help you understand the runes. Steve Borowski question, do you feel that heavy weightlifting can cause one to rupture energy? What does that mean? I have no idea what that means. Rupture energy? I don't know what that means. And I don't know why you're asking me that. I obviously lift weights. And I know I look kind of fat, but it's hard to see. I obviously lift a lot of weights, and I'm an energy teacher. So it would be pretty strange of me to say that, if you lift heavy weights, you're going to rupture your energy. I don't know what that means. So short answer, no. You got me thinking, where did you even come up with that? What happened here? All right. So again, see, now I'm back to the old problem. When I was on Facebook, I didn't have this problem, but now I'm back to the problem of people not, just dumping stuff on here, and I got to scroll through all the that. Brian Pacini, let's see this guy. He says $1 million reward in writing. It's seeking credit. So this is called spam, and I am just going to. There's a thing I can do called hide user on this channel. You will not have the privilege of ever posting on my channel again. You can watch whatever you want, but please don't come onto my channel and spam your stuff. I don't come onto your channel and spam my stuff unless you want me to. So he's done. All right. So Lara Olivo, please write a question if you have a question. 1729 Rocky question: how do you become fearless? It's a big question. Watch my videos, and I've already given a lot of answers on it. The short answer is, let me answer that question. How do you become fearless? You don't become fearless. You're never going to be without fear. If you don't have any fear, there's something wrong. You're broken. Fear is inevitable. You can't avoid it. I'm full of fear. I talk about being fearless, but I'm full of fear. Okay? Fear is a natural thing. You can't become fearless. The only thing you can do is take fearless action. And the only way I should say the most effective way to take fearless action is to go after what gives you happiness, and do that fearlessly. Go after that regardless of how difficult it is or how frightening it is. Go after it and do it anyway. David Ryan question: I've read a few of your books, but find the prices and the splitting into smaller books where one could do rather restrictive. Could there be any price adjustment for bulk purchases? So you assume that I have a stack of books here in my house. A stack of books here in my house, and I don't deal with that. You go onto Amazon and buy books. To be honest with you, how much money do you spend on internet? How much money do you spend on your phone? How much money do you spend on cable TV? How much money do you spend on your car lease? How much money do you spend on gas? How much money do you spend on entertainment? How much money do you spend on things that matter to you? And you're going to honestly tell me that buying a book for $15 or $25, that is restrictive? And then what is it you say? Splitting into smaller books? It's very hard for me to have compassion and empathy for people who complain about that. You know, if I was charging $500 a book, you know, that'd be different. You know, I do have programs on here for $500, but that's for people, you know, who want some very specific things. But these are the cheapest things that I have. So see what I mean? It's like, you know, look, when I trained with my teachers, when I trained with the spirit fighting, especially, you know, you go to class and you pay tuition for class, which was relatively inexpensive. You know, it was like $40 a week or something. And there's a week. How much, you know, that was spent, or a month, sorry, $40 a month. Really cheap. And that was, you know, like almost 30 years ago, 25 years ago, something like that. But when I wanted to learn the higher level stuff, which meant I was going to spend 4 hours in, you know, 2 or 3 days learning really high level, intricate stuff, I had to shell out a bunch of money. And I had to dip into credit cards to do it. And I was happy to do it. I was happy to do it because it meant something to me. You're complaining over the price of books. I mean, what's it going to end up costing you? You know, once you buy the book, you have it forever. Come on, man. This isn't about me. It's about you. This is the whole video about investing in yourself. The video I did about Odin, invest in yourself. It's a really important thing. You know, it's one of the reasons that I don't give away a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff, you know, you gotta buy, because if you don't pay for it, it's not going to mean anything to you. And if it doesn't mean anything to you, you won't learn it. If it costs you money, you're damn well going to read it, and you're damn well going to practice it because it cost you something. So don't ask me to sabotage your learning, because that's what you're asking me to do. Now, if you're talking about bulk purchases because you own a bookstore and you want 500 copies so that you can put it in your bookstore, I don't know, maybe that's a lot. You want, you know, 20 copies to put in your bookstore, then there are ways to do that. But you're asking, you know, there's all kinds of, come on, you guys, put effort into what you want. Nothing in life has any value without any effort associated to it. And if anybody wants to hand you something for free, saying it's the most valuable thing in the world, they're trying to manipulate. You know, this is what drug dealers do. You know, they'll give you your first hit of heroin for free, knowing that once you've taken it, you're going to be addicted. You're going to be dependent. And then they're going to charge you out the ass every time you want to get that fix. So if you want something from me of any value or my time, it's going to cost you. All right. Timothy Zoll. All right, so that's not a question. Welcome to the channel. BC Pagan question. I noticed a lot of the trickster gods, i.e. Rahu, Coyote, Mephistopheles, have a mad mustache. Does Loki have a mad mustache? I don't know. I've seen depictions of him with a mustache. I don't know. I'm trying to find something in that question. I can't. Yusarkov question. I want to use my blood to activate my runes. Are there any other ways to activate them without blood? Of course there is. So, I mean, you said you want to use your blood to activate your runes. You're not asking me. So if you're choosing to do that, I don't even know what that means. You know, that's your choice. Are there any other ways to activate them? Of course. Chanting them, writing them, studying them will activate them. You don't have to work too hard at it. They're pretty powerful in my experience anyway. Okay, so that's not a question either. All right, I'm not seeing any questions here. So I've done a lot of, holy crap, I've done a lot of venting and babbling. And oh my God, why you people watch this stuff, I don't know. I'm grateful that you do, though. Here's what I need you to do. I need you to go to these two websites, courses.thunderwizard.com. Please find out what my resources are. If you want to make use of what I teach, you've got to have access to the resources. The main thing that I want to share with you, as I said, to know how to put all of these resources into practice, because it's one thing to have a bunch of books and a bunch of videos, and where do I go? What do I do first? The four most important things I've already gone through in the beginning. Go to neo.thunderwizard.com. If you, in my belief, not only are you going to get the most out of my channel, but I think you'll get power over your life. The whole point of what I'm here to do is to give you the ability to be the God of your existence, the God of your universe. That's what I want to help you do. The main goal, ultimately, of where I'm going is to give you the tools necessary so that you can simply intend what you want to not only achieve in your life, but to create in your universe. Your ultimate destiny is to be God on earth. And I say that, and you're going to go through all of your delusions about what that means. It only means one thing, which is the soul, your soul manifests everything it wants to manifest. It lives, it creates its own matrix. That is your destiny. And that is what I am seeking to do. I've had glimpses of that. I've learned how to do that more and more. I've talked about that. I'm certainly not done learning and experimenting, nowhere near. But this is, to me, I don't see any other purpose for being alive. I see, to not achieve that is, a waste. And the people who live on the bottom end of that spectrum, who are sheep and robots and victims, to me, that is a waste of a life. My brother grew up in the same house that I did. Now, I haven't talked to him recently, so I don't know. For all I know, his life may have changed, and if so, I hope so. The last that I heard of him is that he was sick. He's 5 years older than me, so he's 60 years old now. He was sick. He was crippled, walking around with a cane, and he was living out of his truck and panhandling. And because I know him, because I grew up with him, because I know all of the opportunities that he had, and I know what he's done to get where he is, if he dies like that, for me, in my limited judgment, I say that is a waste of a life. What a waste. Because he was on the ultimate end of that spectrum of being a victim, of being a sheep, of being a cog in the machine. And the only other way outside of that, that I know of, is to be a God in the flesh who says to themselves, what is it that gives me the greatest joy? I'm going to create that. And when you do that, you empower everybody. Everybody wants to come along with you when you do that. And everybody is empowered. And there's no other reason for us to be here. And to the extent that we don't achieve that is what brings us back. The reason I'm here in this life is because in the last life, whatever I accomplished, there was something else that I wanted to accomplish that I wasn't able to accomplish. There was something I wanted to experience that I wasn't able to fully experience, and so I'm here back again. And so are you. Okay? So that's why I'm here. All right. Anything else come up since All right, so fresh lasagna. So whenever somebody says something inappropriate or curses or something like that, YouTube automatically holds it for review. So fresh lasagna, unfortunately, as cute as you are and as clever and as funny as you are, nobody saw it. And because of that, you get to go into hide user on this channel. You'll never be able to comment here again, but you can watch. So see you later. See, is that everybody? Yep, that's everybody. All right, guys. So now that I'm back, I'll figure out how to live stream better. I'll get my little stuff together. I'll think through things. I won't be venting as much. And I'll get back to doing some teaching. All right. See you all later.